Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. There you go. That looks about right. I don't know what happened. We are trying a bit of a different look today with the stream. Put some nice graphics on, blah blah blah. I hope everyone's doing well. And it looks like you all can hear me. So let's get started. Alright. How's everyone doing today? If you can hear me, just put a, tell me in the chat. That would be great. I know it is a little bit delayed. So we'll get started right away. And as you can see, I was looking at some coins we were looking at yesterday. But let's start off with the usual Bitcoin, Ethereum versus Bitcoin, etc., etc. Alright. So, coming to look at Bitcoin, finally we filled this fair value gap, and we're retesting this major fib level. I want to just take a look at, at the actual Bitstamp chart, because this is where the actual level I marked off. So if we get a closure below this level on the daily time frame, this would signal that we're most likely going to continue to the downside, and this level is 21,647 roughly. So closing below that, we're most likely going to continue to the downside. Macro-wise, doesn't mean we can't get a green candle here and there, of course, but that is what's probably going to go on. Like to know that. Thank you very much. It was an attempt to make it a bit nicer and stuff. It looks like the yellow and the white text for the chat box isn't working all the best, so let me just try to change that real quick. Maybe purple for the text. There you go. We'll try that out. Cool. I appreciate you all coming to the stream. So yeah, any daily closure below that, we're most likely to continue downside. Of course, the one thing that I have pointed out and been quite honest about was this is the first time these levels have just kind of been more or less invalidated. I mean, they haven't really been invalidated, but like right here, we see we got a closure below. We did get another red candle, but then we immediately broke above. So just be wary of that. This means this most likely will continue the downside. Of course, if we get back above it and close above it, that means we're most likely going to continue to the upside. So just be wary of that, and I will post in the Discord later around right after the daily close tonight. This chart just to see where on Bitstamp it is, because that's what I really look at for these closures. But I just wanted to mark it out on the Bybit chart just to get a rough idea, because I know we all usually trade on leverage platforms. Cool. So, really simply, I've been waiting for this move. I've been waiting for this fair value gap to fill, waiting for a retest of this Fibonacci level we marked out, and also pulling the volume profile from this swing high to this swing low. Even if you want to consider this to be the swing high, I think we have in the past. Yep, right here. I pulled it a bit wrong. That's a-okay. Consider that to be a swing high, swing low, and then we're ranging in between. We actually came back and retested this point of control. I don't think we did it exactly. Maybe we did on USDT margin. Let me just check. But either way, that is currently holding as support. So that is, in my view, a-okay. We did actually test it on USDT margin. Let me just go see who that is. It might be important phone call real quick. Hold on. It was indeed not important phone call, and we've been waiting for some doctors to call the house, but they were asking about car insurance. So I apologize for that, but now I have the phone next to me, so Shouldn't have to run away next time. Yeah, so we retested it on USDT perp, which is great, holding it as support. So for me, just like we retested it as support. So it is a very good take profit level on any shorts you might have, etc. But really, I won't say anything until the closure tonight. I won't say I think we're gonna bounce from here. I mean, I'll look at the traditional markets and see what's going on. But until we get to daily closure, I don't really have much of a bias, to be completely honest with you. Really. Yeah. Well, my thoughts are rally back up to 28. Yeah, that definitely can happen. I definitely can see us coming back up to here. Right, retesting this level. Is that actually where you're getting it from? 27.9, yeah. That might be where you're getting it from. 27.929, filling these low volume nodes. I definitely can see that happening. I definitely think we have enough time left in the cycle, right? Because if we take a look at just my macro chart on Bitstamp, that's just where I have my macro levels. Right, I just plotted out like with respect to the halving, the 4-year cycle, and November 7th, the week of November 7th, should be around the bottom. So I definitely think we have time to set the bottom in, right? I definitely think we have time to, do something like this and then continue to the downside. Seems very likely. Well, once again, just gonna wait on this closure. And if you want some, in case there's a big crazy move, I guess I can talk about large term time frame targets. Obviously, if we break through this point of control, your next stop's essentially just going to be this value area low, a 19.5. And then if we break below that, then we're just going to be retesting these lows, which should hopefully actually get a bounce. We do have a lot of low liquidity in these areas. So hopefully we just have some trap shorts coming up, and then we can get a bit of a slight bounce. Like even from the range lows to the value area low is a 10% move, which with leverage is plenty. I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Yeah. I just heard the caller ID and it was like usually like doctor's office will be like blank New York, and it said New York, so I was like, oh, maybe that actually is a doctor, but no, it was just a word. Dump after to 12K. Yeah, that's basically what I have. So we will wait and see, based off of this closure tonight, and with this fib level. But yeah, I definitely think if the daily close is above that Fibonacci level, I will honestly be buying some spot Bitcoin, just to get this little 28% move, and then be selling it. So yeah, I definitely do agree with you. We don't have any divergences building or anything like that. So yeah, cool. Let's take a look at Ethereum Bitcoin. Yesterday what I was saying was if you get it back above the 786 Fibonacci level, then your next target will be these range highs, obviously, and then after those break, I was expecting those to break it. If you get above the 786, close above the 786, then your range highs, your macro range highs, right here. But what happened, we actually wicked above, closed below, and we're still currently kind of doing the same thing. So I would just be wary of that. Coming down to shorter term time frames with Ethereum Bitcoin valuation, you can see right here, this I would consider to be our market structure low. We broke below that. Where do you expect to pump back into? Right here. You'll now significant move up. It's also pretty significant support and resistance on the 1 hour time frame. And that's exactly what we did. Wicked above it, no problem. So it's a bit of a stray wick, and still coming back into that. So the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation on the 1 hour time frame signals to me that you're most likely going to continue to the downside after this slight move up. What would invalidate that would be a daily closure above the 786 Fibonacci level. After that daily closure above the 786 Fibonacci level, then your targets become these range highs and that macro high, more or less. So if you want the two scenarios like drawn out, just so I feel like this could be like a good thing for the stream, just because yeah, so if we go like this, like pull back this, and then something like that, and just to see like if my things actually played out tomorrow, because I don't always remember exactly what I said over the stream, or if we're gonna break down, we can do something of this nature. Oh shoot, crap. Something of this nature. You know, you break down, you swing below, come up and retest, and then you dump around to here to fill this fair value gap down here. So that would be my two different scenarios for this, and I gave you invalidations for this downward move. So my bias is the downside, and what will validate that is this daily closure above the 786. So now let's take a look at Ethereum itself, not Bitstamp. Hey Grogu, I've been following TR and TJ in the Discord. Is your strategy laid out? My strategy has not been laid out explicitly just yet. I have been making videos on tutorials and stuff that I use for my strategy. I should probably just make like a list, and then we can just go out like a Word document or something, and we all can just go off something like that. But for now, no, I don't have it explicitly laid out, to be quite honest. But I will work on that. Okay. So coming down to Ethereum, what did I expect yesterday? And it didn't happen. I know. Yeah, it just did. We just didn't get this retrace back up into this area, which I was expecting it to do. Which I guess is okay. I did. No, that was a swing pattern. I was gonna say I made a miss. No, it just didn't behave how I thought it would. And then we would dump into this level. You can see that this didn't play out at all whatsoever. We did play out to the downside, but even this support and resistance level, which I thought would hold at least a little bit, broke through. It is quite interesting though to see that this level, for whatever reason, if we take our volume profile just to get an idea, we can see if that, for whatever reason, in this area there just happens to be low liquidity, right? Big candles here, big candles going down. Just interesting to see that there's not much interest or support and resistance between this level. But then we did dump back down into this level. I believe this was a 4-hour. Yes, this was a 4-hour local low that we were looking to see a while back, and this level has held, thankfully. This was just a support and resistance zone that we drew a long time ago over here. So it is quite interesting to see all these levels play out. Along, though, off this level would have been a fairly good idea. I don't know if it's going to come back and fill this, though. So I want to see this fair value gap being filled. It would be nice to see some actual volume come into this area for once. So what would tell me that we're going to come to this fair value gap is if the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation closes above the 786. I think we probably are going to fill this fair value gap, assuming those things happen in that order. And if it doesn't, then we're probably going to continue the downside, and where do targets what are our targets to the downside. We still haven't filled this fair value gap from a long while ago that we've been talking about, which is between 1644 and 1617. So coming back into these levels, and we can come over to the 4-hour chart, maybe even the daily chart at this point, and treat this as like a local low and a local high. And we see that actually no Fibonacci levels are respected in that fair value gap. So, but we do have the value area high of this range, which is interesting. So coming back into this fair value gap, possibly holding this value area high as support is essentially what I would expect if the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation doesn't close above the 76 Fibonacci level tonight. Okay. Let's now look at SPX, and then we will take requests for coins. Yeah. So SPX didn't build any divergences, and we are correcting to the downside. We did break below this level right here, so I would expect it to quite honestly come back down to this level right here. It is Friday, so we'll look how the markets look over the weekend. On the aftermarkets, you can go to weekendwallstreet.com, I believe is the website, and they show you the Dow after hours. But yeah, more or less just a typical Friday. Just a slight reversal of the week, big move down or big move up, and they decided to have a big move down. Not much I can say honestly, other than I'm just waiting for this level to be tested. Okay. What FLM I believe was the coin we went over this day. And while I wait for people to put their coins in the chat, and once again, for whatever reason, it seems like no one's strolling in until 1:30. So maybe I will finally change it. Assuming that if that happens again today, then I will change the time to just 1:30, because I guess that's time. FLM, we were looking at Binance, and wonderful. So our fair value gap that we laid out yesterday, and we could have even extended it just to this, and that probably would have gave us the wick, yeah. But we did take it from the daily term time frame. If you used a 4-hour fair value gap, you actually would have caught that wick, but no problem there. So we did fill this fair value gap, I would say, on the 4-hour term time frame. So just be wary when there's fair value gaps like overlaying on different time frames. Just expect them to bounce within those time frames, if that makes sense. So maybe so something along the lines of this coming out of it, assuming you can even come out of it, and then coming back to fill it on the daily term time frame. That is what I would look for. That's how I treat them. Like if, you'll see that sometimes imbalances can overlap in the same area in the same time frame, and I look just for bounces on those time frames. If that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So yeah, targets back up for now still remain. I would take this fair value gap, and then we could take our Fibonacci levels. And yeah, just mark out this low right here. So targets back up would be, you're probably going to have this, hold this as resistance right here. If you can get back above this resistance, filling this fair value gap. But then I would essentially look for this to fall through down. All depends on Mr. Bitcoin. We can look at the DXY and we'll look at Flux. Let's look at Flux first. These are interesting coins. Are these even on Bybit? No, they're on Binance. Okay, so just a macro stance. You have this as support and resistance. Yeah, you're just doing it on a wick basis. Daily term time frame. Do we build any divergences? Nope. Yeah, okay. Cool. This one seemed to be fairly easy to play, at least on the daily term time frame, right? Even if you didn't want to take this as like a weekly support resistance, you could have just take this as like a fair value gap. Very slight there. See that it never closed above it or below it, and you could have taken a short. You also could have, if you like to I mean, this has like a ton. Just because this coin seems so choppy, but you could have taken this as a daily support and resistance level, but you know, this coin is so choppy that there's just so much. Let's just look at shorter term time frames just to see what's going on. So this right here, I won't even go to the 1 hour. Yeah, so this right here would be your market structure break, include, right? So breaking below that, closing below that, broke your upward trend, and now you switch down to most likely continuing a downward trend after you broke below this. What are you looking for to retrace into your last significant move up? Now with a coin like this, where it's extremely choppy, I would take this to be your last significant move up right here. Just be wary of that. Very short of block. Now I will say, especially with a coin like this, where it just seems to be low liquidity, extremely choppy, this is only if we get back above this level at 88 cents, get a continuation candle, something like this, and then we can come back into this order block and then look for a rejection there. But before that, I would look for continuation downside, and this is going to be a bit of a trickier one. So what I want to do is we could take this as a very large macro range, and we just look on the macro one. Oh my. Holy. Alright, so you have a very skewed point of control to the downside. You fail to get back above the fair value value area high. What I've said with these types of coins, I'll say it once again, is you need a continuation candle outside of the value outside of the volume profile level. So like value area high, point of control, value area low. You need continuation candles. So just one break like this is not enough to signal that we're going to break out of this value area. So it seems to me that we are clearly rejecting it, right? We rejected it once, we're getting a continuation candle finally. So coming back to retest this point of control is a fairly large move away. I would probably look for this right here, this fair value gap right here to be filled on the daily term time frame before anything else happens. We can also pull our Fibonacci levels, and those probably will line up like the 618. Yep, lines up with the 618 right here. So coming down into these levels at 71 cents seems to be of interest. Of course, small time frames, I said, if you can get close above this level and get a continuation candle, you're probably going to do something like this and then dump into it. But if you can't get it back above that level, just dumping straight down to that would be my two plays there. Sol and AVAX would be great. Yeah, you got it. Let's look at, you want to look at DXY. Ooh. And then we can do Sol and AVAX. Yeah, we're just coming back. My targets for the DXY have been 110, the 786 Fibonacci level, and this little fair value gap. So 110 and 30 cents. So still looking to break that. Nothing of major concern. Yeah. Not building any divergences, I don't think. Maybe on the daily time frame we are. No. Not building any divergences or anything, so nothing to be concerned about. I'm still looking for continuation to the side. We still hold market structure, so yeah. Just continuing the uptrend. Sol and AVAX, you got it. Okay, I think Sol is the same thing as I did with Ethereum, where I was like, I think it's going to come back into this bearish order block, which we probably took from the 1 hour. I think it's going to, oh, maybe not, the 4 hour. I think it's going to come back into this bearish order block before it breaks down, and that did not happen. We just broke down, so, yeah, we just completely broke down, smashed through it, everything. We then came back and retested this level right here, which is good to see, and now we're getting a big bounce, which is cool. Let's go down to even smaller term time frames, and you can see in smaller term time frames, this is actually very nice. We have this fair value gap right here. We almost filled it to a T, and we're rejecting based off of that as well. So small term time frames still looks like you could have entered a short position from there. Fibonacci levels, yep, 786. Nice scalp short position there on Solana. Just be wary that we did break for our market structure for this choppy uptrend. It is still a choppy uptrend. Just be wary of that. We broke through the point of control as well. So the next macro level will be this value area low, which of course, if we break below this low, will be to there. So that's at $32 roughly. So we should get hopefully a nice bounce off of that. And if, where do I want to put an upwards? We do have this gap right here. So I don't see many clear validation points, or maybe even invalidation points to like give criteria for if I think it's going to come up to this fair value gap or not, or just continue trend. So I just want to take a look at Bitcoin, Solana versus Bitcoin, and then we can get criteria based off of that. Okay, yeah, so this should be more sound criteria, hopefully. And we actually have a swing failure pattern, which is fairly cool, and that actually might give us a bit of a nudge where we're gonna go. So breaking above this high right here, at 0.00175 Bitcoin. Closing above that right there would be my signal for that Solana is going to go fill that fair value gap. But anything before that, I still think it's going to continue to trend. So that is there's your criteria for if you're going to continue the upward trend or not. If DXY keeps moving up, continue down for Bitcoin. Most likely, it doesn't always follow that. The macro trend, it does, but it doesn't always mean that DXY going up doesn't always mean that Bitcoin is going to go down. We can actually just test this, and then I'll go over AVAX for you. And we can just test this real quickly by looking at DXY. Just get rid of this. And just throwing a correlation on it. Apply. You can see that's not always a negative correlation, right? Even on the daily time frame, they do sometimes move in unison, especially even on uptrends. So right here, you had a positive correlation coefficient, meaning they're moving in unison. You had an upward trend. Right here, your downward trend, slight upward trend, maybe on the weekly time frame, might be clearer. So yeah, the bigger moves, right? COVID dump, right? We had a negative correlation there, so with Bitcoin, so DXY went down, Bitcoin up, that's what you're talking about. Right here, this slight little move was positively correlated, and this move upwards as well was positively correlated. So it's not always that way. I will agree with you that most of the time it is that way, but sometimes it can use and move in unison, especially when it's reasons for outside of domestic monetary policy, right? If something's going on with the euro, in terms of that regard, right? If for whatever reason the EU decides to drastically inflate the euro, more than the US dollar, that will play into the DXY's movement, and that probably won't correlate too much with Bitcoin in that scenario compared to when the United States Fed comes out and says we're going to restrict monetary policy, DXY pumps, and obviously risk on assets like Bitcoin dump. So that's kind of like where the correlation fundamentally comes from, not just looking at the charts and stuff. That's where it kind of comes from. Hopefully you can understand that. Let's take a look at AVAX now. I don't want this chart. I want Bybit chart. I want to get rid of this correlation. I want the daily term time frame. I don't know if we've been looking at this one. I don't have anything written down really. But what's interesting to note, you've broke above this previous high. So for me, there's a good chance you might get continuation to the upside here. So let's just take a look at our volume profile before you broke out of this range and see. Perfect. You're retesting this. That's exactly what I wanted to see. This is you're retesting this previous. I don't know. You can see. That's fine. You're retesting this previous valley area high, right? The previous range is valley area high. You're holding above it. So as long as you hold above it and close above it, I don't see a reason why you won't continue to move to the upside. So this looks actually great on daily term time frames, doing what it's supposed to be doing. Short term time frames, yeah, we came up to its range, to its current swing high, rejected off of it. Nothing of much concern there. Building in at divergences. You can argue that this is hidden bear, but I wouldn't put too much weight on it. Yeah, you're probably gonna get a bit of a pullback, maybe even to the daily VWAP right here, and then you're above the daily VWAP, so I don't see a reason why to be too concerned just yet. On really any particular time frame except the 4-hour, you did break. Oh no, you didn't even break. You didn't break market structure. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good for a long. Once again, the invalidation point is closing the daily term time frame below this valley area low at 22.375. If you close below that, especially with the continuation candle, then that idea gets invalidated. Targets upward would, of course, just locally kind of be this fair value gap here at 24.42 and 25. This fair value gap. So you might get a bit of a rejection off there. So maybe good profit look for good take profit level for a long. But essentially after that, I'm just looking for a retest of this level. You might get a slight rejection, and then just a retest of this value area high. Sorry, not value area. This current high at 30.935. So I will do the squiggles just for tomorrow's or Monday's sake, and see how that prediction plays out. Obviously, an invalidation point would be a closure, 4-hour closure below 22.225, along with the value area low. But if you want to be more conservative, then just wait for the daily closure above the daily closure to test the value area high, previous value area high. Nice. What are you watching, Grogu? Most of the time, I just watch Bitcoin and Ethereum, quite honestly. I look at ADA, but I don't leverage trade ADA or a lot of alts. I do look at, I have traded Litecoin a bit. I just have really stuck with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Other coins, especially now, where a lot of liquidity is leaving the market, like the slippage and everything, is just too much for me. So I really just stick with Ethereum and Bitcoin nowadays. Yeah. Unless somebody like calls something out, then I'll look at it. What indicators are you using? The indicators that I use are VWAP. So most of the time, if I'm in like intraday trades, especially with how like my schedule is now, if I'm gonna just open up like a day trade, like buy the New York Open, close by New York close, then I would just use the daily VWAP. I want to use all the VWAPs, and I just use that as a dynamic support and resistance, just to get an idea of where the market's going. Should I be concerned about my position, etc., etc. Beyond that, I use the volume profile, so the fixed range volume profile, market structure, order blocks. Those aren't really indicators, so I don't really use too many indicators. I do use the TDI, which is the RSI, to get an idea. And if I'm feeling not lazy, I will then open up order flow data and look at the CVD and look at for CVD divergences. But yeah, I haven't really agreed in any trades right now. No, I'm not in any trades. I closed that Bitcoin short, just so I had a peace of mind. But I did say in the beginning of the stream that if Bitcoin closes above that Fibonacci level at 21,650 roughly, I'm just gonna look at the Bitstamp chart. I'll post that in the Discord. Then I'll be buying some Bitcoin spot as a longer swing position. And if Bitcoin ever closes below that Fibonacci level, like let's just say tomorrow or whatever, goes below that Fibonacci level, then I will sell at a loss. So I'm not putting a stop on spot. I'm just gonna be like a manual. But yeah, I'm not in any trades right now. Don't trade the weekends. You can scalp. Yeah, swing trades don't usually play on the weekend. Well, if that's all, I will just remind you that our Discord, there's a link in the description below. How about ETH? I do trade ETH. I just haven't been in an ETH trade, and I just don't see the perfect setup for ETH. I guess I could also enter a slight ETH long based off of this, but I don't know if I want to go into any leveraged positions before the weekend, like you said. Leveraged swing positions before the weekend. And also, we've kind of already, I already kind of missed this move, right? Not saying I don't think Ethereum can go higher, but I already missed this. Let's just say like that. That was a 30% move. I'm trying to buy Bitcoin. If we just want to compare the charts, I'm buying Bitcoin here, right at the point of control. I'm not buying Bitcoin once it broke out of, nearly broke out of its range. So I just want the bigger return. What would you say you put in a position? What would you say put you in a position to be a better trader? What put me in a position to be a better trader? I think that's a good one. I don't know. I think when you're first getting into it, you look at all these people which scalp every move, or if they're a swing trader, they show the big P&L, and just realizing that that doesn't matter. It just doesn't. If you're making enough to not blow your account or maintain your account or make enough money so that you're I don't know, if you're trading for a living, then you kind of have like a set goal, and as long as you're making that goal, it doesn't matter, right? And if you're trading as like a side gig, well, if you make $100-$200 a week, cool. It's an extra $200, $200 a week, so you shouldn't really be worried. Like, you stop comparing yourself to others. I think that's the what I'm trying to get at. I think that's the core. Like, just stop comparing yourself to these people. You should learn from them. You should ask what they are doing, but just stop trying to compare yourself to them. If you are losing consistently, then just stop that and just go and paper trade for a little bit. Could you do a stream with your strategy? You mean like trade? Like live trading? I could do that. I could do like live paper trading, so there's no legal issues. Just in case. I can do that. I don't know if that's what you mean though. Hustler. Like, you just want to like see, like, okay, I'm entering this. Okay, I'm getting stopped out. Okay, I'm entering this. Like that. Like, you sort of, I don't know. Just clarify what you mean, and I'll try to get it done. That would be great. Run through it. Yeah, I can do that. I think I just would probably just do it paper trading, just so I don't get any, like, you know. No one can get too mad if they follow me and I'm wrong. Alright, guys. If there's no more coins, then I will bid you farewell. Remember to join our Discord. Link is in the description. A lot of good traders in there. Completely free. Good advice. Also, if you trade on Bybit, there is a link in the description below for 30% off your fees. Make an account through there. It'll also help like support this channel and stuff, so that'd be great. And it can save you some money as well. Because I know all of us are either getting into it or already kind of like advanced, and you just kind of look at for me for like a second opinion. Let's get some more punters in next time. I think that joke is going over my head. But yeah, let's get some more people in that server to this YouTube channel. That'd be great. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Have a good day, guys. Bye.